Thank you very much. Really exciting to be up here and talking to you guys today. What I'm hoping to cover, just so we're clear, is in the next 15 minutes is get through, just refresh, make sure everyone in 1 to 2 minutes, just reminder of where we are with Daydream. Go through some of the new stuff that we have coming with Daydream this year. And then we actually sat down and looked at a few insights of what's working and what's not with our VR store, and how users are actually finding our technology and finding apps and games and what they like and what they don't. So as you guys go back and start thinking about what's working in VR and what's not from a mass adoption perspective, we can give you at least some points on where to start with that. So just really fast refresh again. Daydream itself is a couple of things. One, it's the standard of phones, so it's Daydream-ready phones. And then two, it's the headset. When we think about it internally, we are really all excited about pushing more Daydream-ready phones into market. We care less about number of headsets currently at this point. I mean, it's always interesting to see what our attach rates are, but we really want to make sure that every phone that comes out is VR-ready and VR-capable. Because then when you make that purchase decision of the headset, it's really easy to do at $50, and it becomes incremental to the point of purchase. So we really focus on ease of use and being able to find comfort with the headset itself. So again, as part of comfort, we also looked at bringing your hands into the environment, which you guys had just heard about from my friend from Digital Domain who was talking about the NBA VR app. And being able to have your hand in the environment really does give you more presence and make it more immersive. So we're really excited about that. And then 3, easy to use and easy to bring around with you. So again, to quote what my friend from Digital Domain just said, he's going to be outside with his Daydream, right? And he's going to have the controller there, so it's easy to take around with you. So that's just a quick refresh on Daydream itself, being that standard of phones and then being the headset and controller on top of that. You'll see us continue to make more tweaks on that later this year around continuing to push comfort, because what we want is we want people to spend long periods of time in VR, and you need them to not feel like it's a barrier to entry when they put that headset on. So as we think about updates, the first update for us is the fact that we have 8 Daydream-ready phones today, and we made a major announcement. We're going to end up likely around 12 to 14 by the end of the year, with the new Samsung S8 being compatible and the new LG phones being compatible, in addition to Pixel continuing to upgrade later this year. So we're really, really excited about the continued growth of Daydream-ready phones in the market. And the second thing we've announced is our standalone VR headsets. So for us, this was really exciting. We announced partnerships with HTC and Lenovo coming later this year, where you remove the phone from the Daydream headset completely. So now you have an all-in-one device where you don't need a phone to run it, and it's a dedicated VR device that you can pick up from the table, again, utilizing the controller of the Daydream. Really, really pumped about this, especially with our new hardware partners. The point with these standalone VR headsets is not to create a fragmented community, though, so especially as developers. What we don't want to see is developers who just want to build for the new headsets. We want to make sure that everything that works with the new headsets is also backward compatible with all the old headsets, because there will be users that just want the incremental buy to the phone, and there will be users that go out to go get that dedicated VR headset. And the technology itself isn't very different, and the way to build for that, we've tried to make it as easy as possible with the same SDK. The only real difference here is going to be the fact that you'll have 6 degrees of freedom on your head from a comfort perspective. So that's a pretty easy optimization to make in the back end, and we've already been doing that with some of our current apps and games. So today we have 150 plus apps and games. You can go on our store and count them up. But the big thing here is we've had a 3x increase since the beginning of 2017. We've obviously moved from being a closed store environment where we set that quality bar and put in all the right bells and whistles and checks to make sure that we are maintaining quality, and we're also pushing to users great content. And we've opened that up and allowed anyone now to self-publish as part of our VR store, still having to go through our techs and recs and requirements that are all publicly available. So we're really, really excited to just see the amount of organic content that's coming through. We're also giving our store a facelift. So you guys are pretty familiar, hopefully, with what our VR store looks like. It is built on top of Play with a lot of the back end, but it is different. So we're giving it a facelift in the sense that we are continuing to move content around. We're trying to build buckets on top of what you can see here as a way of users being able to kind of find what they're most interested in. We want this to feel more like a guide, like a TV guide, if you will, and less like an app store, because we fundamentally believe finding VR content is different than when you're on your 2D device and you're looking for mobile apps and games. So you'll continue to see us upgrading the store and pushing these new kind of features out as a way of cycling through all the content we have so it becomes easier for discovery. So just to kind of jump into some of those insights that I promised everybody, we sat down and we really looked at, again, this is our store. And the first thing we realized is that 25% of all of our sessions begin with no specific intent. So people just go into Daydream and they don't actually know what they want to do there. So they're just in there, which is really exciting. So there wasn't a reason to go into Daydream. They're just looking around. The next big thing here is 40% of all sessions include at least one click on that discovery window. So to kind of go back to the top level is our discovery windows. And if you go back, this is our new storefront that'll be coming. That would be considered the discovery windows, what you see kind of cycling through, just to make sure everyone is clear on that. 40% of all sessions always go to that discovery window first. So we know that's really important for users as far as like what content should they engage with. And then the third stat was that 35% of all sessions include a visit to the Play VR store. So from our perspective, this is not the Play VR store, this is the Daydream home. If you look at the little play button on the bottom there, that'll take you to the Play VR store. So for everyone who's been to Daydream, you know that you start here, and then you can go into Play, which is more focused on apps and games. But the point of the Daydream home is to include not just apps and games, but also video. And I'll tell you why that's important later on. Cool. So that was insight number one, which is now's the time to create the VR Angry Birds, right? We don't really have a killer app or a killer game out there, and everybody I talk to is always trying to think of what could that be. And so we're looking for that as well, and there isn't one kind of runaway yet. So a little bit of excitement for that. The second thing I want to point out here, this was a video, but I know I'm on limited time, but this is Lola and the Giant. And what we learned with Lola and the Giant, built by Climax Studios and launched in April, was the importance of kind of a free trial. So they gave away a mobile companion app with the VR app. So for users, it created a lot more engagement. So what that means is if you buy the VR app and you go to mobile, you can actually get a 2D app as well, and the 2D app is free. And so even though you're in VR and you're kind of going through a platformer type game, there is mobile users who can actually help you solve the puzzles within the VR game for free. So that trial was really, really important to users in the sense that they can play on this and interact with people in the VR game. So really interesting to see. So we know that we have comparison to 2D apps. We have 3x more likelihood to buy, and 32% more spend per active user. So again, people in VR do want to spend money. They just want to understand what they're spending money on. And we know that trials will increase willingness to pay for content. So as you guys are thinking about what do I develop, what do I put out there, what is my business model, really think about how you can give users that kind of taste for free so they know exactly what they're buying from an environmental perspective, from a quality perspective, and from a duration perspective. So look for ways to offer a free trial. The third kind of thing was thinking about time spent in VR. So right now, we know it's about 40 minutes average weekly time in Daydream. It is still a barrier to entry, right? You still got to put a headset on. You still got to isolate yourself from the environment. And we're doing really cool things with casting now where you can bring the living room involved. But you're still isolating yourself. And it's not something you're going to do necessarily on the bus while standing up on the Muni, for those of us who take the Muni, or something you're going to do at work. You're really going to do it when you get home and you're in that safe, comfortable environment. So really think sit-down meal. When you know they're going to go in for 40 minutes a week, you know it's probably only going to be 1 or 2 sessions. So what can you do to build content to keep them within your content for a longer period of time? So the next kind of insight I really want to walk you guys through is nearly 50% of time in Daydream is actually spent in video experiences. So this is important because remember when I said that the Daydream Home is different from VR Play Store? You start in Daydream Home because what we wanted Home to do was bring together video, bring together live events, bring together apps and games all into one place. And then yes, if a user does want to drift down into specifically apps and games, we have the ability to do that. But we really want to help them see other types of video that's coming coming through. So again, we have tons of apps that provide video. The other side of video that's really important to us is we focus less on the brand. So you won't necessarily see the HBO app as being on that home. It's more, what is HBO pushing inside of their app that we can deep link and show a user directly? Game of Thrones' trailer, right? Because that's really what people want to see and is exciting to them, not necessarily HBO's kind of logo in the app, because you don't necessarily know what's with HBO and what isn't. So again, we're really pushing the video within the app experience, or just the video in general, especially when it comes to YouTube. So video is a core use of mobile VR. So again, as you guys are considering content and you're considering apps, games, or videos, like make sure you start thinking about what is a video experience that could be built into that, because users do want more of that passive sit-back experience when it comes to mobile VR. Last kind of insight I'll give you guys is really about quality and making sure that whatever app or game or video you put out there, you're really maintaining the quality, because star ratings, as you guys can imagine, and you think about it with 2D, really do push the amount a user engages with your content. So the point here I want to make is how important it is that you're kind of continuing to build that community and continuing to maintain quality, because that really is important to a user and will decide how much they engage with you. So again, if we go back to summarize, what are the kind of the 5 kind of quick insights with Daydream? 1, it's about creating the VR Angry Birds. It's not out there. No one has the killer app yet. I encourage everyone to kind of think about what that could be. 2, it's really think about offering a free trial experience with whatever kind of piece of content you put out there. I know right now we have a lot of premium content, which is great, and users are willing to pay for it, as we've just shown on the statistics. But again, give them something a little more to kick off that engagement. Think sit-down meal, not snack. Don't think 60, 90, 120-second experience. Start thinking longer, especially when you know they're only coming in a couple of times a week for longer periods of time. It's not as easy as I play for 3 minutes while I'm waiting for the bus and jump out. Video is a core use of mobile VR. Again, over 50% of time. And then really maintain that quality. So again, we continue to see lots of content come in. Hopefully you guys push your content through. So I know I'm just about out of time, but I swear I'll take one question. Any questions? No, awesome. Oh.
You mentioned your Daydream statistics. Those are strictly Daydream, not including Cardboard or anything?
That's right. We focus specifically on Daydream with that. That is non-inclusive of Cardboard. Cardboard has its own set of statistics.
And we've got time for one more, so.
So you said that people spend around 40 minutes a week.
Yeah.
What is stopping people from spending more time? Is it comfort right now, or is it the apps that are available, or something else?
I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, right? We could argue it's comfort. It's still kind of clumsy to drop your phone into a headset and put your headset on, and we all know phones get hot after a little while. So that could be one of the things, and that's obviously another reason we're going with more standalone devices where you don't have to worry about the clumsiness of dropping your phone in, which should increase. It's also content, right? There is a lot of content, but more content is always better, and users, we all have different tastes. You may like something that I don't necessarily like, and vice versa. So the more content that's out there, the more ways that we can individually and personally engage with it and like it. So we believe those are 2 of the biggest factors, but we see isolation as being that 3rd factor, right? If we live together and I'm in the living room and I put that headset on, I'm no longer talking to you. So that could also be a barrier to entry.